Hi, I'm Sandy from Lightning Tools, and I'm here again with Brett. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, not bad at all.
Great, great. I'm super excited about today. I think we're going to show off the latest version of Lightning Conductor, which, as you know, is my favorite product that we offer.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. Yeah, so we've been talking about it a little bit, apart from last week where we talked about the data storage and so on with the products. But yeah, we'd given a little bit of an insight as to what was coming. And yeah, one of those changes was a change in the way that you want to aggregate content. And do you want to give a bit of background as to why we did this, or would you like me
Yeah,
to?
yeah, sure. So yeah, not so much a change, but an addition. So an additional way to aggregate content, because we've been finding that a lot of times people who are new to SharePoint and coming into SharePoint Online, but they haven't ever really used SharePoint before, they understand about the Microsoft 365 groups that you get, when you create a SharePoint site or a Teams team or Planner Plan, any of those things, and it all kind of goes together. But they aren't so used to talking about SharePoint site collections and sites and how that whole structure works. And a lot of times, what you want to look at is items that are related to each other, content that's related to each other through a Microsoft 365 group, because it might be um, content that's in a SharePoint site that's also related to a planner plan that's also related to Teams content. And so we've added a new rollup source. So we have had in the past the object model rollup source, a search rollup source, so using Microsoft Search, and also Microsoft Graph that was added a couple years ago now. And now this month we've added Microsoft 365 Groups as a roll-up source. So you can go through and select groups that you're familiar with the names of and bring back all the content that's related to that group, no matter what part of Microsoft 365 that's sitting in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And we've seen that with Lightning tools and also with in Lightning Tech
Mm.
as well. That lots of people during the pandemic, have onboarded Microsoft Teams inside their organizations, and some of them hadn't seen SharePoint at all. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they're new to it. It's every time you create a new team, it's creating, of course, a Microsoft 365 group behind the scenes, and that's got a SharePoint site. And some of them are starting to utilize some of those SharePoint sites. So that's really confusing for those users who have no idea what a site collection is. And the Lightning Conductor is like, what site collection do you want to aggregate your content from? And they're not gonna
Right.
know. I mean, you may put two and two together based on the fact that they've got similar names and so
Mm.
on, but it's still a little bit confusing to navigate to the content in that way if you're not used to it.
Mm.
So yeah, it's more natural that you're going to see a number of different groups that have been created inside your organization, and you can go through and select those groups as the source.
Mhm.
And so yeah, what sort of data might you find in a Microsoft 365 group? What were we talking about?
Well, there could be, just basic files, the documents and files still like you're used to having in SharePoint, but then also planner plans, planner tasks, the members and the owners of the Microsoft 365 group, which isn't really a thing that you can get at too easily in bulk. You can go to each team or each SharePoint site and see who are the members and owners, but you can't necessarily see over a bunch of different groups or all of your groups who are the owners. In Teams, you can store files there as well, although that's really in SharePoint, as we know, but other people, some
Me not know.
people new to it may not realize that. And so this gives them an easy way to see that content.
Cool, fantastic. So yeah, should we dive in and have a look?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so at the time of recording, this is not yet released. So if you don't work for Lightning Tools, this is the first time you're going to see this instance of this product. So I have a couple of views already created, and this view, if you've been using the Lightning Conductor, you may have already seen. It's actually one that will work with the graph. So you can bring back all of your planner plans and your planner tasks from using the Microsoft Graph. But rather than building a query, as you mentioned, you can just simply go through and select which planner plans you want to include, and that is by selecting the Microsoft 365 Groups. So yeah, in here, this view is great. It allows me to go through and mark off any of these that I've completed. I can also come in and assign people. So if somebody's not assigned, I can actually go through and assign them using the aggregation. I can assign multiple users in that way as well. So yeah, it's just a simple case of going through and doing that. So you've got the nice inline editing there, which is really good to see. And yeah, on the right hand side here, we can also delete tasks. Of course, that's permission trimmed as well. And you'll also notice the different buckets that are listed in here. So these are your planner plans over. Sorry, these are your tasks on the left, and these are your buckets that you can have inside a planner plan. And each group will basically have a planner plan associated with it. So that information is all available in here. You've got the due date, and if you want to, you can also go in and create a task. So it's got the Lightning Tools Sales Planner in here. So I'm in the Lightning Tools Sales group at the moment, the SharePoint site for that group. This is where I can choose the bucket. So if there's a to-do that I need to do maybe by tomorrow, and assign, say, one of those users, and then I can actually give it the tasks. I think you were making coffee just before this.
Okay.
So there we go. We'll have that as a task there. So we've gone through and created that and made some coffee. So that's writing all the way back to that Microsoft Planner plan. I think you made the coffee, so I'll go through and mark that as complete. And there you go. We can see that's made as complete at the bottom there.
There it is.
So
thanks.
you're welcome. So let's have a look at how this is configured. So I'm just going to edit the page here, and as we scroll down, we can select the web part, choose the edit web part option, and over on the right hand side here you can see that I've created two different views. The one called Microsoft Planner Plans, which I have open at the moment, but also notice there's a people view as well, which I'll come on and show you in just a moment. So the planner plans, I can reconfigure that one by clicking on to configure the view, and that takes me into the advanced dialog. And inside the advanced dialog, here are your rollup providers that we have. So originally there was only an object model rollup provider, and this is the one which, if I select it, you'll notice the data source gives us the option of aggregating based upon site collection. If I jump back and go to search, you'll see that you have to build a search query effectively using a result source. So you can roll up from content using a specific content type or something along those lines. And we also have the graph rollup provider as well. And with the graph rollup provider, it's a case of choosing your entity. So it might be that you want to aggregate OneDrive items, or you want to aggregate Microsoft To-Do tasks or something like that, but then you have to build in your query as to where this content's going to come from and so on. So what's new is the fact that we can go through and select the graph rollup engine provider. You can choose from different types of view. So there's the grid view, which I'll show you in a moment. This particular one is using a Json view, and that's a built-in Json view. You don't have to create that yourself. And on the data source, you'll notice that the rollup source is the groups that you're selecting. So I've actually got this one set to show entities from the current group. So that is my scope, just one group, the current group that I'm in. And as you can see, I'm returning planner plans. If I wanted to, I could go through and select from other groups as well, in which case this is going to list all of those other groups for me. So we can just simply go through and select that. And as you can see, there's a bunch here beginning with Lightning Tools that we can see. Some of those are teamified, others are not, which you can tell by the icon there.
Nice.
And yeah, and you've also got from all teams as well. So if you wanted to focus in on Microsoft Teams as your source, of course, they're Microsoft 365 groups, or also show entities from selected teams, you can go through and choose that option as well. So as we come down here to viewing In fact, let me filter this out. We'll say begins with Lightning. So here's a few teams that we can go through and select. As you can see, we can choose multiple and then specify the entity type that we want to aggregate from.
That's really handy, especially if an organization has some team naming governance around that, so that your team names are consistent across departments and things like that.
Yeah, exactly right. So I'm just going to clear that filter and we'll put it back to the current group. And under the entity type is where it says planner plans. So notice you can basically just click this entity type and it shows you all of the different types of entity. So planner plans was the one that I selected, but you'll also notice that there's other things as well. There's events, like calendar events. There's also people such as members and owners. There's posts, that news articles. We have drive items, which are OneDrive items, and also OneDrive item permissions, which you could build your own permission report using this as well. And of course, SharePoint related, you've got sites and lists, list items, and also calendar as well. So lots of things that you can go through and choose as an entity. So this one was on planner plans. So I'll leave it like that. And there's a couple of refinements here about limiting the number of items that are returned or the items per group. And when we go into the columns tab, if I was building a grid view, which we will be in the next example, we can go through and select from each of these different column names coming from the different graph entities. So yeah, exactly. But you'll notice that there's an entity type. So that's important to take notice of. So the first set is all to do with the actual planner plan. So you've got the title of the planner plan, the owner of the planner plan, when the planner plan was created, and so on. And some of these, they're not going to be useful to you. They're just going to return GUIDs and things like that. But others are useful, and you can go through and specify an alias as well for the column name, so it doesn't look too ugly when you actually build your view. So these are all to do with the planner plan, and you'll notice beneath that is the group. So if you wanted to, I think as you mentioned earlier, build a report on owners and members from particular groups, you of course want to show the group name. So you could group by the group name and also then show information about the people as well. So you can pick and choose things from the group entity as well as the planner plan entity. And if we were to change that from planner plans, if I just remove this one and add in planner tasks, let's say, when we go to columns now, notice all the planner task columns that we have, as well as planner plans. So same sort of thing. Of course, every planner task belongs to a planner plan. So this is where you can actually group by the planner plan information and show the task related to that plan.
Oh, and buckets too, I see.
And buckets as well. Yeah, exactly right. So we save you a lot of that work about picking and choosing those columns by actually not having to worry about any of this and just jumping down to a JSON view. So there's a JSON view called Lightning Tools Planner Tasks.js, and in there you can go through and make a few refinements as well if you want to. But other than that, we just click on to save, and this is what we get here. So you get that nice sort of rich experience of displaying the planner plans, which is good, or planner tasks. So that's one example. Let's just republish this page, and what we're going to do is just jump into another example here, which is the people. So we'll choose people, and what I'm doing here is showing all the people that belong to some of these groups. We've got Lightning Conductor associated demo site, and Lightning Conductor store, Lightning filters, etc. So a bunch of our products. These are all Microsoft 365 groups, and in each group we've got some members, and these are just demo users, as you can see. So there we've got some internal people, which are our members, and we've also got some external people as well, which are guests. So this is a really common request, is actually knowing what external users you have, and this is one way of doing it with the Lightning Conductor. So this is not a custom JSON file. This one is built using the grid view. You have the people card as well. So if you don't recognize who some of these people are, you can hover over them and check out their profile information. So in order to build that one, what we've basically got as we go into the configuration here. So again, it's using the Microsoft 365 Group Rollup engine provider in a grid view display provider this time, so it's not using the JSON. And then under the columns, under the data source, it's showing entities from all groups. So, so we've got all of the groups defined in there, and then it's returning members. Now you can actually switch out members for owners if you want. So if you want to find out who all of the owners of your groups are, you can do that instead of members. Entirely up to you. You could even do it as a separate view if you wanted to, which we can run through. Yeah, so this one's called members. So we're going with that. And under the columns, notice I've got the display name of the group, the user type, and the display name of the user. So these are the only three columns that I've got selected. And then under the display, we're rendering that display name for the user as an avatar with their name. So that's a really nice feature there, so you can show that. And there's a bit of conditional formatting going on the user type. So you can distinguish the difference more easily. I've actually set user type as member or user type as guest, and then set an icon for each one. And so, yeah, if we wanted to make that a nice sort of color so that it stands out, we could make those bright red or something like that. And save that one.
Okay. And here too, or yeah, not there, but so there would be where you could change the column header also. Right, in that alias column.
Yeah,
so it doesn't look so.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, yeah, some of these graph labels are not too user friendly. So yeah, you could jump in under columns, under display, and in here you can actually go through and set, username, and you could have just type instead of user type if you wanted to, and you could have group name. In fact, there's no need to actually even display that group name because I'm actually grouping by it anyway, so I'll just remove that one. Okay, I thought I just ungrouped it.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Trying to talk and demo at the same time. It's yeah, group, but undisplay. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. And so that's reloading that data here, and you should hopefully see that being applied there. So there we go. We've got that. And if you want to, you can go through and filter, which is something that I did earlier on. So we've got begins with Lightning. So if there's a set number of different groups that you do want to display for whatever reason, then you can go through and show that.
That would be on the group name, though.
Beg your pardon. Yes, it would be.
Removed.
Yes. Type. There we go. Okay. Again, trying to demo and think at the same time. So that's planner plans and people. Cool. If we were to go through and add that, so like I said, we could show owners, and you can get into the advanced mode to do that. You'll also notice under the quick configuration in here that there is another way of just rendering group names, which is useful. So you can actually go through and select groups, Microsoft 365 groups, and they can come from the graph, and you can either display the planner plans in a planner view or agenda, or just list all of your different groups in a grid. So as I save that one, that's actually just a list of groups. Okay, so these are all unified groups, but you can also jump into the advanced mode and change that too. So if we clear that, and in this particular one, we will do a group roll up. And so we choose all groups again. And the entity type I'm going to go for is owners. And so we're looking for the display name from the user and the display name from the group. And under the display here, this is where, again, we'll show that avatar with a name, and we can group by the group. So as we save that, hopefully we've got a list of owners which we can display from all of the groups inside our tenant. And yeah, there we go.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, that's what's new.
Very nice. Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a great way to navigate through to your content and choose. So of course, building those views with all the different column names, it's not as user friendly as selecting column names with inside a SharePoint list or a library, but it does give you so much information that you can go and get at from those graph entities.
Yep. And if you want to research that, you can go to the Microsoft Graph Explorer website, and that's where you'll find all the documentation on what all those graph entities and properties mean and what they'll bring you back. But you can also just play around with the Lightning Conductor and see those in real time in your tenant as well.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so if a person already owns the Lightning Conductor, if an organization already owns the Lightning Conductor, they'll be able to get this new version once it's released by downloading it from our website. This will require a new download because it's a major release. But but that's included as part of your subscription, is to get this new version.
Absolutely right. And so there was the webinar as well last week, which demonstrated these features. So if you want to know a little bit more about the Lightning Conductor in general, as well as see similar demos to this, that webinar was recorded. So you'll find that on the lightningtools.com website under webinars, and it'll be the most recent webinar. So
I'll put a link to that too on this chat.
Fantastic. All right. Well, great speaking to you again,
good
Sandy.
To talk to you too. Okay.
All right. And hopefully see you very, very soon.
All right. Yep.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.